Welcome everybody to Small Biz Fuel on Business Monday here in downtown Providence on GoLocal Live. I'm Josh Fenton. Beautiful day, big week ahead of us with lots of things going on at the State House, but we've got a big focus this afternoon on NC3 over in East Providence. Sam Iserson's here with me. Welcome.
Thanks, Josh.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
You've got a cool business model. You work with major companies in helping them recruit smart people to fuel their companies. Walk everybody through sort of what the business model is.
Sure. So our industry is called RPO, which is Recruitment Process Outsourcing. And what we do is we basically manage the administrative and logistical components of talent acquisition strategies, as you mentioned, for major corporations. Our niche is in early career, so that's a lot of college recruiting programs. So we do a lot of support, especially throughout the United States, for these corporations in executing those campus recruiting programs.
So everybody's fighting for talent right now. Yep. The lowest unemployment in 49 years in the United States. Everybody's trying to get smarter as well. So you're setting up, just get down to brass details, you know, Fortune 500 company X wants to go to Brown.
Yep.
They want to recruit 20 people into brain technology, sure. And you guys set up the spot, the location.
Yeah.
You don't staff it.
Nope.
They're going to bring in their top people to
That's
be
correct.
able to, who specialize in recruitment, but you're going to build all the processes accordingly.
That's correct. Yeah. So still a huge differentiator in campus recruiting is having that face-to-face interaction with students. So there are a series of events that typically comprise a formal campus recruiting program: career fairs, information sessions, relationship events, interviews. We do the administrative work.
Open
to
bars?
Support.
Do you
no, not open bars. No.
On these, you get to work with a range of companies, so you get to see what works and doesn't work.
Yep.
And what are you seeing that the trends are? What's the big change from when you and I didn't get recruited? Because certainly no one wanted to recruit me coming out of undergrad.
Biggest change is the use of technology.
Yeah.
So candidate capture is being done by mobile devices. So the ability to, the paper resume is really kind of going away.
Yeah.
And companies and students are leveraging electronic platforms and databases in order to get into a company's recruitment system.
What are you seeing as best trends, best practices as trends? Who's doing the most innovative things in recruiting folks, and how do you support that?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that we're seeing are trying to target a smaller audience and do something that's going to make you stand out a little bit. So as opposed to going into a classroom and doing an information session with a PowerPoint, renting out the rooftop of a G-Pub and having a more smaller, intimate gathering where you might be not necessarily serving alcohol, but providing food and drink and things like that.
You see broad-based number of recruitments. Is everybody chasing the same talent pool?
For the most part, certainly in science, engineering, computer science, things like that, for sure. Some of the liberal arts degrees aren't in as high demand as those other
Art history and
ones.
archiology
Probably
are not hotbeds for recruitment
not
in biomedical and things like that. Talk a little bit about, name whoever you can name,
sure.
As appropriate as you can. Who's got the stroke down? Like, who's really hitting the ball and got the buzz about them and really able to identify people and is attractive to young folks coming out of school?
Yeah, I mean, there's two parts of the process, really. One is that initial identification and creating the buzz, and then the other is being able to pull the candidate through. So, basically time to close is really important. The technology companies still have buzz, the big consulting companies, and then of course the financial service companies. Typically those industries do this work the best.
Let's talk a little bit. We've probably had 200 small businesses on this segment over the past couple of years. everybody says the same challenge, literally, is finding talent.
Sure.
What have you seen that's newer, besides the applicability of technology to the sector? What have you seen that you've been able to bring to your clients
Sure.
that allows them to be more effective in recruitment?
Yeah, so what we do is make sure that the process works well, and works quickly. It's very easy if you don't have, a really tight, buttoned-up process to have candidates fall through the cracks. That's what our clients pay us to do, is to make sure we can get them from the beginning to end, make no mistakes, make sure we pull those kids through quickly.
I used to run ad agencies, and we'd set up, trade show strategies to collect as much information, make as many connections, and you'd go down and see the client after the trade show a couple weeks later and say, well, how did all those leads go? And they'd be like, great, we got 1,200 leads. Okay, what are you doing with them? Oh, they're in a box over there.
Right.
2 weeks later, still in a box. How do you make sure that your client, because at the end of the day, you're going to get judged to some degree, even if they're not as efficient as they should be. How do you make sure that it's foolproof for them to be able to hit the ground running and vet those potential candidates?
Right. Yeah, the big thing is when you design the process. So whenever we get a new client on board, we have a kickoff meeting, we sit down, we have some standard process maps that we're going to go through, but we make sure that we're talking through all the different communication channels, process handoffs, to make sure that they're comfortable with what their role in the process is going to be. We can always flex our model a bit to make sure that it fits, best suits them.
What are the size of the companies you work with?
Mostly Fortune 500.
And are they mostly in the Northeast, or are they all over the country?
Throughout the country. Most of them are domestic, but
Some global?
they're
International?
all multinational. We do most of our work in the United States. Some work in Canada and a little bit in Mexico.
Excellent. And no tariffs involved, right? on any of it.
No.
Don't give them any ideas, right? How's your company doing in this economy, and what's the growth strategy for you guys?
Sure. No, we've been doing well. Really, we acquire clients via word of mouth. We work in a very kind of small, closely knit industry, and so we continue to do good work. We get the referral business that we need. Our greatest challenge really is just finding talent locally.
For your
us,
own company,
yeah, for our
yeah.
own
I think
company.
that's true for
Not to say
everybody.
that it's inhibiting growth, but and even some of the turnover that we've experienced, there's lots of great businesses in the state that are able to attract good candidates. And
Have you
sometimes they're taking some of ours.
developed your own strategy for an RPO in
Yeah.
order to recruit for yourselves?
We have gone to some local career fairs, but no, somehow our job isn't attractive compared to some of our clients.
Oh, forget Goldman Sachs. You
Right.
could be over here at NC3.
Exactly.
You guys over in East Providence, you just bought a building.
We did.
Talk a little bit. You worked with Commerce. I always say the good, the bad, the ugly. I encourage you to say anything bad about the process with Commerce. They hate it. They yell things. Sometimes throw rotten tomatoes. But how was the process? Bureaucracies are bureaucracies.
It was great. I mean, we were buying the building that needed some work. So we kind of did the mortgage process and the additional fundraising or capital with Commerce in conjunction. So a lot of those processes ran parallel to one another. We didn't have to provide, multiple documents or paperwork, and they made it easy for us.
Were they involved in identifying the building?
No.
Did
No.
they show you that building there, that Superman building
No,
across the street?
no.
They generally try and show just about everybody that one. It's only six years vacant, but it's coming. It's coming. Where do you see the company going? We're 9 years into an economic recovery.
Yeah.
There's full employment, but there's quirky numbers that take place. We're at a record number of people who are 3 months or more behind in their car payments.
Right.
And you do wonder at what point, when's the recession coming?
Right.
And how do you as a company meander that recessionary structure
Sure.
and still bring value to your customers?
Sure. Not to say our company's recession-proof, but there's some counterbalance in play in terms of larger organizations wanting to reduce headcount and then maintain, though, that branding presence at their core group of colleges and universities. So what we've seen in past recessions is that we're going to pick up business,
Right.
because people will be looking to outsource, but our volumes will go down with our existing business. So the last time we went through it, we had a little blip, maybe 6 months, but after that we were good to go.
And do you have offices around the country, or is everything
Nope,
done out of
everything's here.
East
No,
Providence?
we consolidated our warehouse and our sort of admin group together in the new building.
And we haven't really talked about that.
yeah.
Your complete cadre of services
Yeah.
are, you ship everything. So if they're
Yep.
going to recruit at Yale for...
We don't like Yale.
You don't like Yale? Brown grad? Yeah. We had somebody on last Friday on with Kate Nagel, our news editor, who's a Harvard grad, and he came on with a blazer over, but he had a Yale T-shirt on. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you here? He's an artist. His son went to Yale. I'm like, no, don't be doing that. But let's just say, hypothetically,
Right.
Goldman's trying to recruit folks out of Yale.
Right.
You're going to literally identify it, reserve the room,
Yep.
ship the materials there,
yep.
collect the materials, return them. They're going to come
Yep.
back to you, all
Yep.
those things.
Yep.
And Goldman's just going to send up on the train 3 recruiters for the afternoon.
That's correct. Yeah,
Right.
that's our job. Yeah, the warehouse and distribution piece is, a pretty significant piece of our business. We had about 35,000 square feet in that building. Regular pick and pack operation, but it does help, supplement the RPO side of our business.
And have you ever looked to diversify? Has it ever been looked at to say, gosh, we have all these core competencies.
Yeah.
At the highest level with the most discerning client base, we ought to be doing trade shows for them,
Yeah.
or X, Y, or Z.
We do a little bit of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do a little bit. There's some national conferences that, particularly that are diversity based, about 6 of them. So we do provide on-site support as well as the installation and dismantling of those larger booth properties.
Well, this was great. Congratulations
Great.
on the
Thanks,
success.
Josh.
If we hear about anything, we'll be sure to let you know.
Great.
Do let us know when things develop. There'll be a story on NC3 tomorrow on GoLocal Live. I want to thank you for coming
Great.
on.
Thanks very much
This
for
was
having me.
great. Stay right
Appreciate
here.
it.
We're going to be back at the 4 o'clock hour with head of the Hassenfeld Institute, Gary Sass. We're going to be talking state budget, trade, Len Ladaro's report on the state of Rhode Island's economy, and a few other things. Back at 4 o'clock, over at the State House tomorrow, plus about 9 other things tomorrow on live. So we'll see you back at 4. Thanks so much.